Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Imagine darkness, absolute. You lie on a stone bed in an underground temple. The air is saturated with the scent of frankincense and myrrh. Somewhere water drips. The echo carries through the vaults. You are alone, or are you? This is Memphis, ancient Egypt, 1,400 years before the Common Era. You have come to the temple of Imhotep, god of healing and wisdom. You came not to pray, you came to sleep. For here, in the sacred darkness, the gods speak to people through dreams. A priest gave you a drink, bitter, herbs and honey, something else, whose name you do not know. Your head becomes light, your body grows heavy, your eyelids close by themselves. Now you are on the threshold, between waking and sleep, between the world of the living and the world of gods. Here boundaries blur, here truth reveals itself. What will you see? The future, the past, a message from dead ancestors, or simply chaos of images, meaningless? Humanity has asked these questions for thousands of years. Every night, 1/3 of our lives we spend in another world. A world without physical laws, where we can fly, where the dead are alive, where time flows differently, where the impossible becomes real. What is this? Why does it happen? And most importantly, what does it mean? Different epochs gave different answers. Egyptians believed dreams are messages from gods. Greeks built temples specifically for dreaming. Medieval Christians feared night visions, seeing in them the machinations of demons. Victorian scientists tried to find the mechanism. Modern researchers study brain waves and try to crack the code of lucidity. Who is right? Everyone. No one. Today we embark on a journey, not through space, through time and human consciousness, through fears and hopes, through magic and science, through the abyss between waking and sleep. We will begin with the ancient world, Egyptian sleep temples, where priests controlled the dreams of pharaohs. Then we will move to Greece, where the sick spent nights in sanctuaries awaiting healing in sleep. We will pass through the nightmares of the Middle Ages, when demons possessed sleepers. We will see how science tried to solve the mystery, and we will understand that even now, with our electroencephalograms and tomographs, we know about dreams only slightly more than the ancients. This is not a story of progress. This is a story of cycles, how humanity again and again tries to understand what happens every night, how it builds theories, how theories collapse, how new generations begin anew. This is a story about the boundary between reality and illusion, between matter and spirit, between brain and mind. And this is a story about you, because every night you cross this boundary, you fall into the abyss of sleep, and you return, sometimes remembering what you saw, more often not. Welcome to Midnight Sleep Chronicles. We begin a journey spanning 4,000 years. A journey into the world where each of us travels every night. The world of dreams. Let us begin. Act 1. Reality, temples of sleep, and the science of waking. Egypt, the birth of dream temples. So where did it all begin? Let us return 4,000 years ago, to the banks of the Nile, to a land where the sun burns so fiercely that stones heat painfully to the touch, where the air trembles with heat, where every drop of water is a gift from the gods, where life and death are separated by a thin border between the fertile river valley and the endless desert. Egypt, a civilization that lasted 3,000 years, longer than Christianity has existed, longer than most empires we remember. A civilization that built pyramids still standing today, that deciphered the movements of stars, created writing, medicine, mathematics, and a civilization obsessed with dreams. Picture yourself there, in Thebes, dawn. The first rays of sun touch the golden tops of obelisks, setting them ablaze with light. In the inner courtyard of the temple, hidden from foreign eyes, lies a special chamber. Small, intimate, stone walls painted with hieroglyphs and images of gods. In the center, a bed of stone, covered with linen fabrics that smell of cedar oil and lotus. This is not a prayer hall. This is not a doctor's office. This is a sanatorium, a place for dream incubation, a place where mortals could speak with gods. You enter, not from curiosity. You came because you are ill, a pain in your chest that will not leave, or because you stand before an important decision that could destroy your family, or because you seek an answer to a question that has tormented you for weeks, months, years. A priest meets you, a priest of Imhotep or Serapis, gods of healing and wisdom. He does not hurry. His face is calm, kind. He listens. What troubles you? What do you wish to know? You answer, hesitantly at first. Then the words pour out. The pain, the fear, the confusion. He nods, writes on papyrus. Every word matters. Then preparation begins. This is not simply lie down and fall asleep. This is ritual, sacred, lasting hours, sometimes days. First, purification. You are led to a sacred pool. The water is cold, shockingly cold. You must bathe at dawn. Immerse completely, 3 times. The cold awakens every nerve in your body. The body must be clean. The mind, free from worldly concerns. You fast, 3 days, only water and a little bread. By the 3rd day, something shifts. The hunger sharpens your senses. Colors seem brighter, sounds clearer. The boundary between worlds grows thinner. On the 2nd day, fumigation. You stand in a sealed chamber while priests burn specific combinations of herbs. Frankincense for purification, myrrh for spiritual opening, and kaifi, a complex mixture whose exact recipe was kept secret. The smoke fills the chamber, fills your lungs. You breathe it, feel it changing your consciousness, not dramatically, subtly, like a door opening somewhere inside your mind. Then, prayers, not formal recitations, sincere, heartfelt. Imhotep, Great One, Wise One, Healer of the sick, I am broken. I need your wisdom. Please, come to me in sleep. Show me what I cannot see. The words echo in the chamber, and for a moment, just a moment, you feel something, a presence, listening. In the evening comes the time. The priest leads you to the sanatorium. You lie down on the stone bed. The linen is soft. The stone beneath is hard, ancient. The priest approaches. In his hands, a cup. He gives you the drink, bitter, intensely bitter. Herbs and honey trying to mask something else. You drink. The composition is secret. Opium poppy, just enough to ease the body. Blue lotus, the sacred flower. Mandrake root, used sparingly because it is dangerous. In tiny doses, they induce vivid visions. The drink takes effect. Gradually, your head becomes light. Your body grows heavy. Your eyelids close by themselves. A state arises between sleep and waking. The threshold of Duat, the vestibule of the world of the dead, where gods and spirits dwell. You are there now. On the threshold, the priest whispers, Imhotep will come to you. He will show the cause of your illness. He will point the way to healing. Trust, believe. The words sink into your mind like stones into water. You fall deeper, cross the final threshold, and you dream. What do you see? Sometimes, images full of symbols, a snake coiling around a staff, the eye of Horus floating in the sky, a river flowing backward. Images that make no logical sense, but carry profound meaning. Sometimes a direct message, clear, unmistakable. A god appears, speaks. Your illness is from evil spirits in the liver. Drink a decoction from the root of such and such plant for 7 days. At dawn, you will recover. Sometimes, visions of the past or future. Dead ancestors come. They warn you or show you events that have not yet occurred. In the morning, you awaken. Slowly, the priest waits. He asks, "What did you see? What did you hear?" You tell him. The dream is already fading. He records everything on papyrus, every detail, every symbol. Then interpretation begins. This is an art requiring knowledge, intuition, experience. Priests study dream books, scrolls where thousands of dreams and their meanings are recorded, collected over centuries. The dream book of Pharaoh Amenhotep contains such entries. If you see yourself drinking wine, good. It means life in truth. If you see yourself looking in a mirror, bad. It means a new wife. If you see yourself eating donkey meat, good. It means promotion. The logic is not always obvious to us, but there was logic, a system of symbols, cultural codes. Egyptians did not consider dreams simply play of imagination. Dreams were reality, another reality, not less and sometimes more important than the daytime one. In sleep, a person exits the body. His ba, the soul, depicted as a bird with a human head, flies, visits places, meets beings, receives knowledge from realms inaccessible to waking consciousness. Therefore, dreams are dangerous. Not every dream is good. In sleep, one can meet enemies, spirits sent by an enemy magician, demons wishing to steal the soul. Protective amulets existed, spells written on papyrus and worn around the neck, inscriptions on bedroom walls. "Go away, soul eater. There is no food for you here. This place is protected by the gods." The pharaoh had a personal dream interpreter, an important position, more prestigious than many military or political roles. On his interpretation depended decisions affecting the entire country, decisions of war and peace. The Bible preserved the story of Joseph, a Hebrew youth who interpreted Pharaoh's dream about 7 fat cows and 7 lean cows, predicted 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh believed, appointed Joseph as manager over grain stores. Egypt was saved. The story shows dream interpretation had practical significance. Egyptian medicine also used dreams. A dream could show the cause of illness, point to treatment. The Ebers Papyrus, one of the most ancient medical texts, contains a section on dreams and diseases. If a patient dreams of drinking warm beer, liver disease. If dreaming of seeing their face in a mirror, trouble with the heart. Egyptians intuitively understood what modern medicine confirms. Body and mind are one. What affects one affects the other, and dreams are the language they speak to each other. Egyptian civilization lasted 3,000 years. Throughout this entire time, belief in the significance of dreams remained unchanged. Dynasties rose and fell, but dreams remained a bridge between people and the divine. When Egypt fell, the tradition did not disappear. The Greeks adopted much from Egypt, including the idea of sleep temples. They improved it, expanded it, created their own system. Greece, temples of Asclepius. Now, let us move 1,000 years forward and 2,000 kilometers north, from the scorching sun of Egypt to the mild climate of Greece, to a land where philosophers, playwrights, scientists were born, where rational thinking reached unprecedented heights, and where, paradoxically, faith in dreams was no less deep. 4th century before the Common Era, the flourishing of Greek civilization. Throughout Greece, on islands scattered like jewels in the Aegean, stand temples, special temples, dedicated to Asclepius, the god of healing. Asclepius, son of Apollo, taught by the wise centaur Chiron, became the greatest physician the world had ever known, learned even to resurrect the dead. For this, he was killed by Zeus's thunderbolt, but after death was raised to Olympus, became a god himself, a god who understood mortality, who cared. The cult of Asclepius spread throughout the Greek world like wildfire. By the 4th century BCE, over 300 Asclepiae existed across the Mediterranean. Temples, Asclepiae, became something between hospitals and sanctuaries. The sick came there, the desperate, the hopeless. They sought healing through dreams, through divine intervention. Epidaurus was the most famous, still is, located in a picturesque valley among hills covered with olive groves. The place was sacred, thin, where the boundary between mortal and divine was permeable, quiet, removed from city noise, clean air, springs with healing water. The atmosphere promotes peace, and peace is necessary for healing. Imagine you are a sick Greek. You have a chronic illness. Doctors do not help. You have heard of Epidaurus, of miraculous healings, of people who arrived on stretchers and walked away. You decide to go. You arrive, and the sight takes your breath away. The temple complex is impressive, vast, beautiful. The main temple of Asclepius stands at the center, columns of marble, gleaming white. Nearby, a theater, massive, holding 14,000 spectators. The acoustics perfect. A stadium for athletic competitions, baths for purification, springs where healing water flows, hotels for those who stay weeks. This is not simply a clinic. This is an entire city, a city of health, where everything is arranged so that body and spirit find harmony. You register. A priest greets you. You make an offering, as much as you can afford. The rich give generously. The poor give what they have. No one is rejected based on poverty. Asclepius is merciful. A priest conducts examination, takes his time, really listens. What hurts? How long? What have you tried? Then preparation begins. Healing takes time, cannot be rushed. You undergo ritual purification, bathe in sacred springs. The water is cold, mountain cold. You immerse completely. Gasp at the cold, feel every nerve awakening, then massage. Skilled attendants work oil into your skin, olive oil infused with herbs. They find knots of tension, work them out. The body begins to relax. Diet changes. Light, digestive, no heavy meats, vegetables fresh from temple gardens, fruits, bread. The mind must be clear for the god to enter. Physical exercises, walks, gymnastics, stretching, moving the body in ways it has forgotten. Many illnesses come from disconnect, from living too much in the head. Spiritual preparation runs parallel. Prayers throughout the day, personal, heartfelt. You speak to Asclepius as you would to a wise friend. Sacrifices. You bring an offering to the altar. If you are wealthy, a goat. If poor, honey cakes shaped like body parts. Important is not the size, important is sincerity. You attend theatrical performances. Yes, the great theatre at Epidaurus is part of the healing process. Greeks understood something profound: catharsis, purification through emotions. Watching drama, you experience intense emotions vicariously. Watch a tragedy, feel horror, weep, or watch a comedy, laugh until your sides hurt. Aristotle defined catharsis. Watching. Drama allows vicarious experience of fear and pity. These emotions aroused and expelled, purge similar emotions from the psyche. You leave the theatre lighter, cleaner. Days pass, you fall into rhythm. Wake at dawn, bathe, pray, eat, walk, exercise, watch a play, talk with other pilgrims, share stories. Gradually you are ready. Feel it. Something has shifted inside. The priest announces, "Tonight you will sleep in the abaton." Your heart pounds. This is it, the abaton, a sacred chamber, the holiest place in the temple complex. A long portico with columns. Along the walls, stone beds covered with woolen fabrics. In the evening, after sunset, you are led there. The chamber is lit by torches. Smoke from incense fills the air. Priests sing hymns, ancient hymns. The atmosphere is solemn, sacred. You lie on a bed. Nearby, other sick people, 20, maybe 30 in the chamber. Someone moans softly. Someone prays in whispers. A priest walks among everyone, touches each person. His hand on your forehead, cool, gentle. Asclepius will visit you this night. He will see your pain. He understands. He will heal you. Believe, sleep, wait. The god is coming. The torches are extinguished, one by one. Darkness fills the chamber. Absolute darkness. Silence. Except for breathing, creating a rhythm. In, out, like waves. You try to fall asleep. Thoughts spin. Anxiety rises. What if it doesn't work? What if the god does not come? But fatigue takes over. Days of preparation. Your body and mind are exhausted. Eyelids close. Heavy. So heavy. You fall. Into sleep. Into something else. And you dream. What do you see? Sometimes, Asclepius himself. He appears as a wise old man. Tall. Robed in white. Bearded. His eyes are kind. Infinitely kind. He carries his staff with a snake coiled around it. The snake is alive, moves, watches you. Asclepius approaches your bed, touches the sick place with his hand or with his staff. Or the snake touches you with its tongue. You feel warmth or tingling, like energy flowing into you. The pain departs, literally pulls away. Relief comes, profound relief. Sometimes, sacred animals, snakes, dogs, they approach your bed, gentle. They lick your wounds. Their saliva contains medicine, or so it seems in the dream. Real snakes and dogs were kept at Epidaurus, non-venomous snakes that roamed the abaton freely. Specially trained dogs. They did lick supplicants. This was intentional. The dream incorporated real sensory experience, made the visions seem more real. Sometimes, symbolic visions. You undertake a journey, descend into the underworld, face trials, tests of courage. At the end, reward. A flower that gives healing, water from a spring of immortality, a gift from the god. Sometimes, direct instruction, a voice, clear, calm. Tomorrow you will go to the spring on the eastern side. You will drink water at dawn, exactly at dawn. You will repeat this for 7 days. You will be healed. In the morning you wake up, slowly, gradually. How do you feel? Sometimes miracle, complete miracle. The pain is gone. You stand. Test your leg that was paralyzed. It works, moves. You walk. Tears stream down your face. Healed. The god heard. Sometimes improvement, significant improvement. The pain is less. Not complete healing, but hope, real hope. Sometimes, nothing physical changes. The pain is still there. Disappointment floods through you, but something else has shifted. Internally, you feel different, lighter, more at peace, as if the god spoke to your soul, even if he did not heal your body. The priest comes, asks about the dream, gentle, patient. What did you see? What did you hear? You tell him. He records everything. Then interpretation begins. If healed, he rejoices with you, asks you to leave a thanksgiving inscription. a marble column where you carve your name and your story, so others will know, will have hope, if improvement, but not complete healing. He encourages, continue, stay longer. The God is working. Trust the process. If nothing, he does not give up. Do not despair. The God acts in his own way. Perhaps more preparation is needed. Return when you are ready. The priests are flexible, compassionate. They find an explanation that preserves faith, that gives you something to do. Because despair kills, hope heals. But were there real healings? Or was it all placebo? Yes, real healings occurred. In Epidaurus, hundreds of stelae with Thanksgiving inscriptions have been found, still exist. You can read them today in museums. A woman named Ambrosia, blind in one eye, was healed by Asclepius. A man named Hermodicus, suffering from paralysis of both legs for 5 years, saw a dream. Asclepius told him to climb the mountain. He obeyed. His legs worked, healed. A woman named Arata, barren for 15 years, slept in the Abaton. Within the year, gave birth to a healthy son. Hundreds of such stories, recorded in stone, permanent. Of course, skeptics will say psychosomatics, self-suggestion, placebo effect, and they will be right, partially. Many illnesses have a psychological component. Chronic pain is often intensified by stress, fear, depression. Creating an atmosphere of peace, faith, safety alleviates the condition, sometimes dramatically. We know this now with scientific certainty. Placebo surgeries, where no actual procedure is performed, can relieve pain as effectively as real surgery for certain conditions. The belief in treatment activates healing systems, changes brain activity, reduces inflammation. Asclepius applied a comprehensive approach: clean air, healthy food, physical exercises, emotional support through theatre, spiritual comfort through prayer, and dreams as culmination, as the moment when all these elements converged, when the prepared body and mind could finally receive the healing they needed. Dream, a bridge between consciousness and subconsciousness, between body and soul, between human and divine. In sleep, the critical mind relaxes. The deep self becomes accessible, can accept ideas, transformations that waking consciousness would reject. In sleep, the mind can accept the idea of healing, can believe in it fully, without doubt, and belief heals. Not always, not all diseases, but often enough, powerfully enough. That temples like Epidaurus flourished for 1,000 years. Greeks also considered dreams prophetic. Plato wrote, "The divine principle in man manifests most purely in dreams. When the body sleeps, the soul is free. It can see truth hidden from the waking mind." Aristotle was more skeptical. He was the first to try to give a purely natural explanation to dreams. Dreams are the result of brain work, processing impressions of the day, not messages from gods, natural, explicable. But even Aristotle acknowledged, sometimes dreams truly predict the future, not because gods intervene, but because our mind catches subtle signals that consciousness ignores. In sleep, these signals surface, give intuitive understanding. Greek Asclepius flourished for centuries. Even when Rome conquered Greece, Romans adopted the cult enthusiastically, built their own sleep temples across the empire. But with the spread of Christianity, everything changed drastically. Medieval Europe, the age of fear. Let us move 1,000 years forward, from sunny Greece to foggy medieval Europe, from marble temples to stone monasteries, from philosophy to dogma, a time when ancient wisdom was forgotten or declared heresy, when the Christian church dictated what is true and what is false, what you could think, what you could dream. A time of fear. 9th, 10th, 11th centuries. The Dark Ages. Literacy is rare. Books exist mostly in monasteries. Peasants cannot read, live in profound ignorance. Their lives are short, brutal, filled with labor. Superstitions flourish like mold in darkness, and dreams in this world become a battlefield between God and the devil, between angels and demons, between salvation and damnation. Christianity had an ambivalent attitude toward dreams. On one hand, the Bible is full of prophetic dreams. Joseph interpreting Pharaoh's dreams, Daniel explaining visions, Joseph the betrothed receiving instruction in a dream to flee to Egypt with Mary, an infant Jesus. Dreams, a channel of divine revelation. God speaks through dreams. On the other hand, dreams are dangerous. The devil can also appear in dreams. The father of lies. He can mimic angels, mimic God himself. How to distinguish which dream is from God and which from Satan? Church fathers struggled with this question for centuries, reached no clear consensus. Augustine of Hippo wrote, "Dreams are play of imagination. Most often they are meaningless, random, but sometimes God uses them, and sometimes the devil uses them for temptation." A humble Christian should not attach great significance to dreams, but cannot completely neglect them either, because occasionally, rarely, God does speak through them. Ambiguous, vague, left room for fear, for doubt, and fear flourished, especially in monasteries. Among those who had taken vows of chastity, monks struggled with the flesh. During the day they fasted, prayed, labored, kept themselves busy. At night, temptations, erotic dreams, vivid, intense, seductive women appeared, beautiful, naked, willing. They touched the monk, whispered promises. The monk woke in sweat, in arousal, in horror. What is this? Sin, even if it happened in a dream? The church wavered. Different authorities gave different answers. Some considered sleep is not under control of will, therefore not sin. Others taught if the monk enjoyed the dream, even unconsciously, it means his soul is impure. There is sin. But the most frightening interpretation, this is not just a dream. This is real. A real visitation. A demon came. In the flesh, a term appeared, succubus, a female demon who attacks sleeping men, who appears beautiful, irresistible, who has sexual relations with them, who sucks out life force. Incubus, the male equivalent, a male demon who attacks women in their sleep, rapes them, leaves them pregnant with demonic seed. This was not folklore. This was official theology, taught in universities, believed by the most educated minds. Thomas Aquinas, the greatest medieval theologian, explained the mechanism. The demon first appears as a succubus, collects seed, then transforms, becomes an incubus, uses the collected seed to impregnate a woman. The child is human, because the seed is human, but conceived through demonic intervention, cursed, legends multiplied, became part of the cultural fabric. The legend of monk Theophilus, a pious man. For years he kept his vows faithfully. But one night a succubus came, beautiful beyond words. She seduced him. He tried to resist, prayed, but she touched him, and his will dissolved. He fell. In the morning he woke in horror, repented, but every night she returned. He could not resist. He weakened, grew thin. His eyes became hollow. Finally, his brother monks noticed. They conducted an exorcism. The demon left, screaming, cursing. Theophilus was saved, but marked forever. Until the end of his life, he feared falling asleep. The legend of peasant woman Margaret. At night, an incubus visited her. She woke, or thought she woke, to find a figure in her room. male, powerful. She tried to scream, could not. Her throat was frozen, tried to move, could not. Her body was paralyzed. She became pregnant, gave birth. But the child was wrong, deformed. It had hooves instead of feet, small horns. It died within hours. The village knew immediately. An incubus. The priest declared her a witch. She was burned at the stake, screaming her innocence. Such stories created an atmosphere of paranoia, of terror. Any unusual dream could become cause for accusation, for death. The legend of the nightmare, another pervasive myth. Mare, a demon who strangles sleepers. The mare appears as an old woman, hideous. She enters the room at night, sits on the sleeper's chest, presses down. The sleeper cannot breathe, cannot move, cannot scream, can only lie there, paralyzed, suffocating. They wake suddenly, gasping, heart pounding, drenched in sweat. But the memory remains, the absolute certainty that something evil was there. The word nightmare comes from this. Nightmare, demon of the night. Even today we use the word, mostly unaware of its origin. Protection against the mare. Place an iron object under the pillow, or a stone with a natural hole, or hang a horseshoe above the door, or scatter salt on the windowsill. Laughable to modern people. Superstitious nonsense. But for medieval people, deadly serious. They truly believed. And perhaps slept more peacefully because of them. Placebo effect works for protection as well as healing. Legends of saints defeating demons in sleep were also popular. Gave hope. Saint Benedict of Nursia fought the devil who appeared as a black boy, tempted him with visions of beautiful women. Benedict resisted through prayer, beat himself with nettles to punish the flesh. Eventually the demon retreated. Saint Anthony the Great, the Desert Father, fought demons constantly. Demons came as animals, lions, serpents, beat him physically, left bruises, broken bones, tempted him with visions of luxury, of banquets, of beautiful women. He fought with prayer, only prayer, refusing to yield. The demons could not break him. Medieval art is full of images of demons tormenting saints. The paintings of Hieronymus Bosch visualize nightmares with frightening detail. Grotesque creatures, mixtures of human and animal, creatures committing obscenities. This is not just artistic fantasy. This is an attempt to show what people actually saw, in sleep, in fever dreams, and interpreted as reality, as windows into the spiritual world. The Inquisition also used dreams as evidence. Witches were accused of flying to Sabbaths in sleep. Their soul left the body, traveled through the air, went to meetings with the devil. There they copulated with demons, made contracts, signed in blood, received power to do evil. A woman who told of a strange dream might be taking a terrible risk. Dreamed of flying, of meeting mysterious beings, of a black man who offered her gifts. The priest might suspect witchcraft, might report to authorities. The Inquisition would begin investigation, arrest, interrogation, torture, until the accused, broken, would confess to anything. Then execution, usually burning at the stake. Dreams became dangerous, not because dreams themselves are evil, but because authorities saw threat in them. Some people feared falling asleep, feared what they might dream, feared that they might speak in their sleep, say something incriminating. But there were exceptions. Dreams of saints were celebrated. Visions of the blessed were recorded, venerated. If a monk or nun had a reputation for holiness, their dreams were perceived as divine revelations. Hildegard of Bingen, a German nun of the 12th century, described grandiose visions, cosmic images, light piercing the universe. voices of angels, wheels of fire. She recorded them, drew them in illuminated manuscripts, created unique works on theology, medicine, music, natural science, works of genius. The church recognized her as a visionary, as a saint, her dreams, direct revelations from God. But for an ordinary woman, for a peasant who described similar visions, the stake, accusations of witchcraft, double standard, dangerous, arbitrary. By the end of the Middle Ages, dreams in Europe had become a taboo topic. People preferred not to talk about them, not to attach significance, not to think about them at all, or to interpret them exclusively within religious framework. This dream is from God. That dream is from the devil. No middle ground, no natural explanation. The scientific approach to dreams was lost completely. Greek and Roman works, forgotten. Church dogma suppressed curiosity, suppressed questioning. Centuries were needed for the pendulum to swing back. The Victorian era. Science awakens. Let us leap through centuries, from the gloomy Middle Ages to the 19th century, the era of steam and electricity, of telegraph and railroad, progress and optimism, a time when science marched triumphantly, conquering one field after another. Medicine made incredible advances, germ theory, vaccination, physics explored electricity, chemistry synthesized new compounds, biology discovered cells, evolution. Everything submitted to rational investigation. Everything could be measured, weighed, explained. Why not dreams? In the 18th and early 19th century, philosophers and physicians began returning to the topic of dreams, but now approaching from a completely different direction, not as mysticism, but as a natural phenomenon, worthy of scientific study. Kant wrote, "Dreams are play of imagination, freed from reason. In them there is no inherent meaning. They are chaos, random firing of memory, without purpose, pessimistic, reductionist." But already an attempt to explain without invoking gods and demons. Physicians began to notice connections between physical state and dream content. Overeating at night led to nightmares. Fever produced delirious visions. Certain medicines caused vivid, bizarre dreams. They began to assume dreams are a reflection of brain activity, of bodily state, not external messages, internal processes. But the breakthrough came at the end of the century, with the emergence of psychology as a separate science, and one person whose name is forever linked with dreams, Sigmund Freud. Born in Narni-Sabineaume, 1856, studied medicine, became a neurologist, worked with patients suffering from neuroses, hysteria, unexplainable symptoms that had no organic cause, paralysis without nerve damage, pain without injury. He searched for causes. Why would the body produce such symptoms? He discovered many problems rooted in repressed memories, in traumas, in internal conflicts between what a person wants and what society allows. He developed a method, psychoanalysis. Patient lies on a couch, says everything that comes to mind, everything, without censoring, free association. And Freud noticed patients often told their dreams, strange dreams, absurd dreams, dreams that made no surface sense, but in them flashed themes connected with their symptoms, with their problems. Freud supposed dreams are not nonsense. Dreams are the language of the unconscious mind, veiled, symbolic, but containing important information. In 1900, he published The Interpretation of Dreams. Revolutionary work. One of the most important texts of the 20th century, changed forever how we think about the psyche. Freud claimed dreams are wish fulfillment. They represent desires, often repressed, wishes that consciousness cannot accept. Often these wishes are sexual, sometimes aggressive, forbidden by society. Therefore, they are pushed into the unconscious, hidden from awareness. But in sleep, defenses weaken. These wishes break through, but still cannot appear directly. So they appear in disguised form, in symbols. Dreams work through symbolism. Elongated objects represent the phallus. Cavities represent the vagina. Climbing stairs, the movement of sexual intercourse. Falling, fear of castration. Flying, desire for freedom. The method is controversial. Critics pointed out, Freud sees sex everywhere, stretches interpretations, forces them to fit his theory. Fair criticism. Freud indeed overestimated the role of sexuality, was obsessed with it. He was a product of his time, the Victorian era, when sex was the ultimate taboo. But the essence of his idea remains correct, remains revolutionary. Dreams are not random accidents. Dreams reflect internal psychological processes, conflicts between different parts of the psyche, desires we cannot acknowledge. Working with dreams, analyzing them, we can better understand ourselves, can bring unconscious material into consciousness, can heal psychologically. Freud's student, Carl Jung, went further, expanded the concept far beyond sexuality. Jung believed dreams are not only personal, dreams are also collective, universal. They tap into something deeper than personal experience. They appeal to archetypes, universal images, patterns, symbols common to all humanity. Wise old man, great mother, shadow, hero, trickster. These images appear in myths and fairy tales and dreams of all peoples, all cultures, all times, because they are rooted in what Jung called the collective unconscious, a deep layer of psyche shared by all humans. Dreams, according to Jung, are a process of individuation, the process of becoming a whole, integrated personality, bringing together conscious and unconscious, light and shadow. Working with dreams is inner work, spiritual work. Through dreams we encounter aspects of ourselves we have rejected. We integrate them, become more complete, more balanced. Jung also noticed dreams are sometimes truly prophetic, not in a mystical sense, but in that the unconscious mind catches signals the conscious mind ignores. He told an example from his own life. Before World War I, starting in 1913, he had terrible nightmares, night after night, dreams of blood flooding Europe, of bodies piled in streets, of cities destroyed. He thought he was going mad. Then in 1914, war began. World War I. Millions died. Europe was drowned in blood. His dreams had been premonition. His unconscious had detected the building tensions before his conscious mind could. Freud and Jung laid the foundations of dream psychology, opened the door. In the 20th century, study of dreams became a legitimate scientific discipline, with experiments, with measurements, with objective data. 1953, University of Chicago. Eugene Aserinsky is studying sleep. He connects electrodes to the scalps of sleeping subjects, records electrical activity of the brain. He notices something strange. Periodically during the night, the brain activity suddenly changes, becomes rapid, chaotic, similar to waking. But the person is definitely asleep, and their eyes, beneath closed eyelids, move rapidly, back and forth, as if watching something. Curious, Aserinsky wakes subjects during these periods, asks, "What were you experiencing?" Almost everyone says the same thing. "I was dreaming, having a vivid dream." He wakes other subjects during different sleep stages. When the EEG shows slow waves, they rarely remember dreams, or remember only vague fragments. Discovery. REM sleep. Rapid eye movement sleep. A distinct phase when dreams occur, when the brain is extraordinarily active. This was revolutionary. Before this, scientists assumed sleep was uniform. Now it was clear sleep has structure, stages, cycles. Further research revealed the details. Sleep is cyclical, slow-wave sleep, deep, restorative, when the body heals. REM sleep, when the brain is active, when we dream, when memory consolidates. The cycle repeats 4 to 6 times per night. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes. Why is REM sleep needed? What function do dreams serve? Theories are numerous. Information processing, the brain sorting through the day's experiences, consolidating important memories, emotional regulation, processing feelings, integrating difficult experiences. This is why things that seem devastating at night feel manageable in the morning. Problem solving, creativity, the unconscious mind working on problems while the conscious mind rests. Experiments showed if you deprive a person of REM sleep, serious problems arise. Quickly, irritability, difficulty concentrating, memory problems, emotional instability. If continued, hallucinations, psychosis. REM sleep is necessary. Dreams are necessary for normal brain function, for mental health, for being human. Modern neuroscience goes further. With brain imaging, researchers can see which brain areas are active during REM sleep. They discover frontal lobes responsible for logic are inhibited, shut down. That is why dreams are illogical, why we accept absurdities. But emotional centers are highly active. The amygdala, processing fear. The limbic system, processing all emotions. The visual cortex, creating vivid imagery. Therefore, dreams are emotional and visual, rarely verbal, rarely logical. Research continues. Every year brings new discoveries, but the complete picture remains elusive. Dreams remain, even now, partially mysterious. Science has approached understanding, gotten closer than ever before, but has not reached it completely. Dreams are still on the boundary between known and unknown, between what we can measure and what we can only experience. Act 2. Legends, myths seen in dreams. We have seen reality, the hard facts, the temples and rituals, the science and measurements. Now let us shift perspective. Let us immerse ourselves in legends. In the stories people told about dreams, stories that shaped cultures, beliefs that lived for millennia, myths that reveal truths beyond facts. Let us return to Egypt, not the historical Egypt of archaeological evidence, but the mythological Egypt, the Egypt of gods and magic. Egyptian gods of dreams. The Egyptian pantheon was vast, hundreds of deities. Each force of nature had its god: sun, moon, river, desert, death, life, love, war. All had divine representatives. There were also gods of dreams, gods who ruled the night, who protected sleepers. Most famous was Bes, a strange deity. Unlike the beautiful, dignified gods depicted in temple reliefs, Bes was ugly, intentionally, a dwarf with a lion's face, crooked legs, protruding tongue, sometimes dancing, sometimes making grotesque faces. Looks comical, even frightening, certainly strange. But Bes was a protector. His domain was the household, the family, especially children and sleepers. Images of Bes were placed above beds, carved into headboards, painted on bedroom walls, worn as amulets. His ugly face was magical protection through ugliness. The belief, his grotesque appearance, frightened demons. Evil spirits would see Bes and flee. Legend says Bes never sleeps. While humans sleep, he remains awake, vigilant. He walks through the house, checks corners where demons might hide, makes noise to scare away evil. Sometimes in sleep, you hear rustling, creaking, strange sounds. This is Bes on patrol, protecting you, fighting invisible battles while you dream peacefully. There was also Goddess Serket, the scorpion goddess, mistress of poisons and their antidotes, patroness of magic, of healing, protector from nightmares. Myth tells Serket has power over all poisons, not only physical, venom of snakes, but also spiritual poisons. Nightmares are poison for the soul. Serket can neutralize them, transform a frightening dream into a harmless vision, turn terror into peace. Prayers to Serket before sleep. O Serket, great goddess, protect me from poisonous dreams, drive away serpents of the night, let my sleep be peaceful. Amulets with the image of Serket, small carved scorpions, were worn around the neck, placed under pillows, and perhaps they helped. Perhaps belief itself was the mechanism. The mind calmed by faith in protection sleeps more peacefully. But the main god connected with dreams was Imhotep, historical figure, vizier, architect, sage, but after death, deified. His cult lasted over 1,000 years. Greeks identified him with their Asclepius. Legend says Imhotep comes in dreams to the sick, appears when called, points to treatment, sometimes heals by touch in the dream. The story is told of Pharaoh Djoser, who became gravely ill. His physicians tried everything. Nothing worked. At night, in desperate prayer, he called to Imhotep, "Help me, I am dying." That night, Imhotep came in a dream. "Your illness does not come from the body. It comes from the anger of gods. You forgot to make proper sacrifice to Khnum, god of the Nile. Bring him a white bull. Build a temple. Restore balance. You will recover." Djoser woke, immediately gave orders. The bull was sacrificed. Work began on the temple. Within days, the pharaoh's condition improved. Within weeks, fully recovered. Legend, of course, but such stories were told, believed, repeated. They strengthened faith, gave people hope. Egyptians believed gods communicate through dreams because in sleep the soul is free. The bay, depicted as a bird with human head, exits the sleeping body, flies, travels to realms inaccessible to the waking mind. The myth of the soul's night journey was central to Egyptian cosmology. Every night, falling asleep, you repeat the journey you will make after death. The bay leaves the body, flies up, passes through walls, into the sky. Sometimes it visits familiar places. This is why sometimes you dream of places and later find your dream was accurate. Your bar visited while you slept. Sometimes the bar flies to Duat, the world of gods and the dead, enters through gates guarded by fearsome beings, must answer riddles, must prove worthiness. There it meets gods, Osiris, Ra, Anubis, Thoth. They speak to the BA, give advice, show visions, reveal secrets. Sometimes the bar meets spirits of ancestors. They offer guidance, warnings. Do not trust the man who offers you partnership. He will betray you. If the soul is pure, if the person lives according to Mat, truth, justice, cosmic order, the gods bless the bar. Show it secret knowledge. Send it back to the body enriched. If the soul is impure, demons attack, frighten, chase the bar through dark places. The person wakes terrified. Nightmares are signs that one must correct oneself, make amends. In morning, the BA returns to the body, re-enters through the mouth. The person wakes, sometimes remembering the journey, sometimes not. Legends also told of cursed dreams, dreams sent by enemies through magic. A skilled magician could send nightmares to torment you. Night after night, drive you to exhaustion, to madness. The magician creates a wax figure representing you, speaks your name over it, then performs dark rituals, calls demons, commands them to visit you in sleep. Defenses existed, counter magic, protective amulets, spells written on papyrus, inscriptions on walls. No evil shall enter here. All demons are banished. All curses return to their sender. But the best defense, always, do not make enemies. Live righteously. Honor Maat. Then no one will wish to harm you. Egyptian myths about dreams were not entertainment. They were philosophy, cosmology, ethics. They explained how the world worked, what dreams meant, how to live. Greek dream gods and prophetic visions. From Egypt, our mythological journey takes us to Greece, where gods were more human, passionate, jealous, fallible, where heroes struggled against fate. In Greek mythology, there existed the Oniroi, spirits of dreams, sons of Nyx, the primordial goddess of night, and Erebus, god of darkness. Oniroi, plural. Not a single god, but thousands, each responsible for certain types of dreams. Main among them, 3 were named. Morpheus, god of dreams that take human form. He appears in dreams as people, speaks in their voices, creates human dramas. When you dream of speaking with someone, Morpheus is present. Phobetor, god of nightmares. He takes the form of animals, appears as wolf with slavering jaws, as snake, as monsters. He frightens, pursues, terrifies. When you wake from nightmares, heart-pounding, Phobetor has visited. Phantasos, god of dreams of inanimate things. He appears as earth, water, stones, trees, creates landscapes, strange, surreal environments, dreams that are purely visual, symbolic. These come from Phantasos. Legend tells the Oniroi live in the underworld, in a dark cave where night never ends. There are 2 gates leading from their realm to the world of mortals. One gate is made of horn, transparent, allowing truth to pass through. True dreams exit through this gate, prophetic visions, messages that deserve attention. The other gate is made of ivory, beautiful but opaque. False dreams exit through this gate, meaningless fantasies, dreams to ignore. Every night the Oniroi emerge, flood into the world, visit sleeping humans. What dreams will they send? True or false? The gods decide. Zeus sends dreams to kings and heroes, uses dreams to communicate, to warn of danger. But Zeus also deceives, sends false dreams when it serves his purposes. In Homer's Iliad, Zeus sends Agamemnon a false dream. The dream appears in the form of Nestor, wise counselor whom Agamemnon trusts, says, "Tomorrow attack Troy. Victory will be yours." Agamemnon believes, attacks Troy, is repulsed, suffers heavy losses, disaster. Why? Because Zeus had promised to honor Achilles, to let the Greeks lose without him. The false dream served this purpose. Gods play games. Humans are pieces on their board. Dreams are tools in these games. The prophetess Cassandra saw the future in dreams. Troy burning, her family dead, her own murder. She knew what was coming, tried to warn others, but no one believed her. This was Apollo's curse. She had refused his sexual advances. He cursed her to speak truth that no one would believe. Her dreams were true, prophetic, but useless, because credibility matters as much as accuracy. The myth of Cassandra teaches prophetic dreams exist, but the problem is not just receiving the vision. The problem is interpretation, communication, being believed. Greek oracles used dreams. The Pythia at Delphi entered trance states, saw visions, spoke in riddles, but the interpretations were famously ambiguous. King Croesus asked the oracle, "If I go to war against Persia, what will happen?" Answer, "A great kingdom will fall." Croesus interpreted, The Persian kingdom will fall. I will be victorious. He lost. His kingdom fell. The oracle was correct, but Croesus understood her incorrectly. Ambiguity is a feature of divine messages. Gods speak truth, but not plainly. They leave room for human interpretation, for free will. Legends of the temples of Asclepius multiplied. Stories of miracles, of impossible healings. A blind woman who regained sight after sleeping in the Abaton. She dreamed Asclepius opened her eyelids, woke seeing colors, shapes, light. A paralyzed man who stood and walked. Asclepius in his dream commanded, "Rise." And he did. Legs that had not moved for years suddenly worked. A barren woman who conceived. She dreamed of a sacred snake entering her womb. Woke knowing she would bear a child. And did. One myth tells of a woman named Clio. She was pregnant for 5 years. Yes, 5 years. The child would not be born. Physicians were baffled. She came to Epidaurus, slept in the Abaton. Asclepius appeared, said, "You prayed to conceive. I granted your prayer, but you did not pray for birth. You must ask specifically." Clio woke, understood, prayed. "Lord Asclepius, let me give birth. Let my child emerge safely." That night, she went into labor, gave birth within hours. A boy, healthy, fiction, obviously, but these stories inspired, gave desperate people hope. Greeks also treasured prophetic dreams of ordinary people. A soldier before battle dreamed an eagle landed on his shield. Good omen. The interpretation? Victory. A merchant dreamed his ship sank in a storm, woke disturbed, decided to cancel his voyage. Later learned the ship he was supposed to sail on did sink. All aboard perished. His dream saved his life. Stories of fulfilled dreams were remembered, cherished, repeated. Stories of unfulfilled dreams forgotten. This is human nature. We remember hits, forget misses. But accumulated over generations, these stories formed cultural belief. Dreams no more than waking mind. Worth listening to, worth considering. Greek dream culture achieved a balance between rationality and mysticism, between skepticism and faith, between scientific inquiry and spiritual openness. Victorian dream legends. Finally, let us move to the 19th century, when legends began to collide with science. Freud published The Interpretation of Dreams in 1900. The book caused scandal. Conservative society was horrified. Sex at the center of human psychology. The unconscious mind controlling behavior. Absurd. But legends began forming around Freud himself, around his patients. The legend of Anna O., a young woman suffering from severe hysteria, paralyses, hallucinations, speech disorders. Freud and his colleague treated her with a new method. Talk therapy. They had her recount her dreams, her memories. As she talked, as she brought repressed material to consciousness, her symptoms decreased, disappeared. She was cured, became a productive person. The story became legendary, symbol of psychoanalysis's power, proof that talking about dreams could heal. The reality was more complex. Anna O. was not fully cured. Her treatment was long, difficult. She struggled with symptoms for years, but the legend simplified, made it dramatic, made it a conversion story. Another legend, Freud's dream of Irma's injection. Freud himself described this dream, analyzed it. In the dream, he examines a patient, looks in her throat, sees strange white formations, feels anxiety, guilt, fear of failure. Upon waking, he analyzed extensively, understood it revealed his guilt about her treatment not succeeding, his fear of colleagues' judgment. This dream became revelation for Freud, proof of his theory, the archetypal psychoanalytic dream. Legends of prophetic dreams continued even in the scientific age. The legend of Abraham Lincoln's dream. A few days before his assassination, he reportedly dreamed of walking through the White House, found it filled with mourners, weeping, dressed in black. He asked a soldier, "Who died?" The soldier answered, "The president. He was assassinated." Lincoln woke shaken, told his wife. Days later, John Wilkes Booth shot him. Is the story true? Unclear. Could be fabricated. False memory. But the legend persists. Jung told of his own prophetic dreams. The dream of the house became legendary. Jung dreams he is exploring a house. Starts on the top floor, modern, clean, contemporary. Descends stairs to the next floor, older, medieval. Continues descending. Finds a floor that is Roman, then descends into a cellar. Primeval. Contains prehistoric artifacts. Upon waking, Jung understood. The house is the psyche. Each floor represents a level of consciousness. Top floor, personal, conscious mind. Lower floors, older layers, eventually reaching the collective unconscious shared by all humanity. This dream was transformative for Jung, led him to develop his theory of archetypes, changed psychology forever. Victorian era also spawned legends of scientific dreams, inventors solving problems in sleep. Dmitri Mendeleev, the legend says, struggled to organize the chemical elements, fell asleep exhausted. In his dream, the elements arranged into a table stood in their proper places, the pattern clear. He woke, immediately wrote down what he saw, the periodic table, one of the greatest achievements in chemistry. Did it happen exactly like this? Mendeleev himself never wrote about such a dream. The story appeared later, but it became legend, became true in the sense that it captures something real, the unconscious mind solving problems. Auguste Kekulé claimed he discovered the ring structure of benzene through a dream. He dreamed of a snake biting its own tail. Ouroboros woke with the insight. Benzene molecules form a ring. This story Kekulé told himself multiple times. It is probably true. These legends inspire, show that dreams are not just meaningless. Dreams are creativity, problem-solving, access to resources unavailable to waking consciousness. Victorian legends about dreams formed a bridge, connected ancient mysticism with modern science, showed both could be true simultaneously. Dreams have psychological meaning and neurological basis. Act 3. Mythology. Eternal patterns of the unconscious. We have passed through reality and legends. Now we enter the deepest layer, the mythological, the archetypal, the eternal patterns that repeat across cultures and centuries. Jung taught dreams use archetypes, universal images, not invented, but discovered, because they are rooted in the collective unconscious, the shared psychic heritage of humanity. What are these archetypes? What forms do they take? The hero, the protagonist, the one who journeys, who faces trials, who transforms. This pattern repeats in myths of all peoples. Gilgamesh seeking immortality, Odysseus returning home, Hercules performing impossible labors, Buddha achieving enlightenment, Jesus descending into hell and rising. Details differ, but the essential structure remains constant. Departure, trials, transformation, return. And we see this in dreams. Universal pattern. We go somewhere, leave home, enter unknown territory. Face obstacles, meet enemies, fight, sometimes win, sometimes lose. Why? What does this mean? The psyche enacts the path of individuation, the journey of becoming yourself, fully, completely. The hero in the dream is the dreamer. The journey is internal. The obstacles are psychological. fears, complexes, traumas. The enemies are aspects of yourself you have denied. Victory is integration, wholeness. The hero returns transformed, more conscious, more complete. The shadow, perhaps Jung's most important concept. The dark side of personality. Everything you do not acknowledge about yourself. Everything you suppress. Your anger, your selfishness, your lust, your violence, your capacity for cruelty. All the things you believe, I am not like that. But you are. You would. These capacities exist in you, in everyone. Denying them does not eliminate them, only makes them unconscious, autonomous, dangerous. The shadow appears in dreams as an enemy, a pursuer, a dark figure, sometimes with a face you recognize, sometimes faceless, always threatening. Meeting the shadow is inevitable on the path of individuation. Cannot become whole without confronting what you have rejected. Jung taught, impossible to become psychologically healthy without integrating the shadow, without recognizing it as part of yourself. Dreams facilitate this confrontation, show you the shadow, force you to face it. Sometimes in nightmare, running, being chased, cornered. Sometimes in dramatic confrontation. What should you do in such a dream? Conventional wisdom says run, fight, escape. Jungian wisdom says stop, turn around, face the shadow, acknowledge it, ask what it wants, listen, integrate. The shadow accepted loses its power to frighten, becomes instead a source of strength, of vitality. The energy that was spent repressing it becomes available for life. Anima and animus. The feminine in man, the masculine in woman. Jung recognized the psyche is not monolithic, contains both principles, both energies. Every man carries within himself an unconscious feminine, the anima, image of woman, often idealized, sometimes demonized, projected onto real women who then seem mysterious, incomprehensible, fascinating. Every woman carries within herself an unconscious masculine, the animus, image of man, strength, authority, assertion. In dreams, these figures appear. For men, a woman, mysterious, attractive, elusive. The anima appears in different forms depending on the man's development, as seductress, as mother, as wise woman. For women, a man, strong, sometimes wise, sometimes aggressive. The animus appears as father, as hero, as judge. Interaction with these figures is crucial for psychological development, for balance. A man who integrates his anima becomes more complete, develops intuition, empathy, emotional depth, stops projecting all femininity onto women. A woman who integrates her animus develops assertiveness, clarity, decisiveness, stops projecting all masculine qualities onto men. The result is wholeness, balance, the ability to be fully human. The wise old man or wise old woman. The mentor, the guide, the one who knows. This archetype appears when the dreamer is lost, confused, facing a decision they cannot make. The wise one appears, offers guidance, but not directly, not in clear instructions, in riddles, metaphors, paradoxes. When you lose the way finds you. The treasure you seek is buried beneath your feet. To go forward, first go back. Cryptic, frustrating, but containing truth. Deep truth that straightforward advice cannot convey. The wise one is the voice of inner wisdom, the part of yourself that knows more than your conscious mind, your intuition, your accumulated experience. Learning to hear this voice, to trust it, to follow its guidance, even when it makes no rational sense. This is spiritual maturity. This is wisdom. The divine child symbol of new beginning, of potential, of the future, of rebirth. The child appears when transformation is approaching. When the old self is dying, a new self is being born. The child is vulnerable, needs protection. The dreamer must protect the child, nurture it, not let it be destroyed by enemies, which represent internal doubts, fears, resistance to change. If the child survives, grows, the transformation succeeds. You are reborn, renewed. If the child is killed, the transformation fails. You remain stuck in old patterns. The universal nature of archetypes. These archetypes are not abstract concepts. They are experiences, powerful, numinous, transformative. When you meet an archetype in a dream, you know it. The experience is different from ordinary dreaming, more intense, more real, more significant. You wake shaken, changed. Archetypes interact, form plots, create dramas. Dreams become theater of the unconscious, where eternal stories are played out. Stories older than civilization, older than language, as old as the human mind itself. Why are archetypes universal? Why do they appear across all cultures, all times? Jung believed because human experience is fundamentally universal. We all are born, grow, love, struggle, suffer, age, die. These experiences, repeated over hundreds of thousands of years, have formed common psychic structures. Modern neuroscience offers a complementary explanation. The human brain evolved with certain basic structures, certain patterns of processing information, certain emotional responses. These are biological, genetic, universal. Dreams, being products of the brain, naturally reflect these patterns. Therefore, dreams are similar across different people, different cultures, different eras. The two explanations, psychological and biological, Jungian and neuroscientific, do not contradict. They complement, converge. Archetypes exist at the intersection of psychology and biology, of culture and nature, of mind and brain. This is important. Archetypes do not dictate. They do not control. They offer patterns, templates, structures, but each dreamer interprets them individually, fills them with personal meaning. The hero's journey is a template, but your journey is unique. Your trials are yours. Your transformation is yours. The shadow is a universal pattern, but your shadow is specific to you, contains what you specifically have rejected. Archetypes are like grammar, universal structure, but what you say using that grammar is individual, personal, creative, infinite in its variation. The eternal cycle of forgetting and rediscovering. We have seen something remarkable. Humanity again and again discovers dreams, studies them, develops sophisticated understanding, creates practices, builds temples, writes books, and then forgets, loses it, must start over. Egyptians knew much about dreams, used them for healing, for prophecy, created elaborate systems. Greeks inherited this knowledge, expanded it, built hundreds of temples. Then Christianity arose, declared it all demonic, closed the temples, forbade the practices. Knowledge was lost for 1,000 years. Then the Victorian era, Freud and Jung, rediscovery, reinvention, building from almost nothing. Then the 20th century, neuroscience, REM sleep, brain imaging, another revolution. Why this cycle? Why not continuous accumulation of knowledge? Multiple reasons. First, knowledge about dreams is intangible, does not produce immediate practical benefits, not like agriculture or metallurgy. Dreams are important for psychological health, for spiritual development, for creativity. But in crisis situations, wars, plagues, famines, survival takes priority. Dreams become luxury, expendable. A generation passes focusing only on survival. The next generation never learns. Knowledge dies. Second, Dreams are subjective, difficult to transmit, difficult to standardize, difficult to verify. You cannot show someone else your dream, cannot prove what you experienced. Egyptian priests transmitted knowledge orally, master to apprentice. When the lineage was broken, knowledge dissolved. Books help preserve knowledge, but books are fragile. Books burn. Books are lost. Third, ideological suppression. Dominant worldviews rejecting dream knowledge as threatening. Christianity saw pagan dream practices as demonic, must be destroyed, forgotten. The church feared dreams because dreams are individual experiences, uncontrollable. Someone dreams something, interprets it themselves, reaches conclusions that might contradict official doctrine. Dangerous. Better to say, dreams are from the devil. Ignore them. Fourth, scientific reductionism. When modern science began studying dreams, a tendency arose to oversimplify. Dreams are just random neural activity, meaningless noise, nothing more. If dreams are meaningless, why study them? Knowledge becomes irrelevant, forgotten. Fifth, culture of productivity. Modern society values efficiency, output, results. Dreams do not fit this model. Dreams are inefficient, illogical, unpredictable, cannot be controlled. Spending time analyzing dreams, impractical, wasteful. Better to sleep quickly. Wake up, get to work. Dreams are marginalized, ignored. Many people do not remember dreams at all, not because they do not dream, but because they do not pay attention. The cycle completes, ready to repeat. In another generation, someone will rediscover. Dreams are important, but they did know. They just forgot. Again, the pattern is eternal, like the cycles of history, like the seasons, like breath itself, discovery and forgetting, knowledge and ignorance, consciousness and unconsciousness. Perhaps this is how it must be. Perhaps the forgetting is necessary, so each generation can rediscover freshly, with new eyes, new questions. Perhaps perfect preservation would lead to stagnation, dogma, rigid systems that cannot adapt. Perhaps the cycle itself is the pattern, the eternal return, the spiral rising slowly higher with each turn but never reaching a final summit. Because there is no final summit, no complete understanding, no ultimate truth about dreams. Dreams remain mystery, always, even as we learn more. The mystery deepens rather than dissolves. The emergence of lucid dreaming. But something is different now. Something new has appeared in the last few decades. Something that might break the cycle. Lucid dreaming. The phenomenon has always existed. People throughout history occasionally realized they were dreaming while still in the dream. Ancient texts mention it, but it was rare, spontaneous, unreliable. Tibetan Buddhism developed dream yoga centuries ago, a sophisticated system designed to develop lucidity in sleep, to maintain consciousness while dreaming, to use dreams as spiritual practice. The goal was not entertainment. The goal was enlightenment, recognition that waking life is also dreamlike, impermanent, illusory, constructed by mind. If you can become lucid in dreams, recognize this is a dream, not ultimate reality, then you can apply the same recognition in waking life. See through the illusion, achieve liberation. The training was rigorous, began with motivation, then throughout the day, reality checks. Every hour, ask yourself, am I dreaming right now? Look at your hands. Question everything. This practice gradually transfers to dreams. The habit of questioning becomes so strong that even in dreams you ask, is this real? Am I dreaming? And one night, you are. You are dreaming. And you know it. You become lucid. Then the real training begins. learning to stabilize lucidity, not to wake up immediately, learning to control the dream environment, learning to use the lucid state for spiritual practice. Advanced practitioners could remain lucid throughout the night, through multiple dream cycles, could use sleep as meditation, but in the West, this knowledge was lost or dismissed as Eastern mysticism. Impossible. Until 1975, until Stephen LaBerge, graduate student at Stanford, studying sleep, determined to prove lucid dreams were real, were achievable, were verifiable. He developed a method. Before falling asleep, set intention. Tonight, I will recognize I am dreaming. During the day, reality checks. Am I dreaming now? Look at hands, count fingers. The habit builds, transfers to dreams. Eventually, in a dream, you perform the reality check. Find 6 fingers instead of 5. Realize, this is a dream. I am lucid. LaBerge became lucid, and he proved it. While being monitored with EEG, he moved his eyes in a prearranged pattern. Left, right, twice. The signal was recorded. Objective proof. Lucid dreams are real, are measurable, a scientific phenomena. The discovery exploded. Suddenly, lucid dreaming became legitimate, scientifically validated. Research expanded, techniques improved, books were written, workshops held, technologies developed. People began learning lucid dreaming deliberately, successfully. Why? Why put in the effort? Many reasons. First, entertainment, pure enjoyment. In a lucid dream, anything is possible. Literally, you can fly, pass through walls, summon anyone, do anything. No limits, no consequences, pure freedom. For many, this is enough. Lucid dreaming as ultimate virtual reality. Second, overcoming fears, therapeutic use. Nightmares are a problem, especially recurring nightmares. The same frightening scenario night after night. In a lucid dream, you can confront the nightmare. Face the thing that frightens you. Being chased? Stop running. Turn around. Face the pursuer. Ask, who are you? What do you want? Falling. Decide to fly instead. Transform the fall into flight. Research shows people who practice lucid dreaming suffer less from nightmares. The nightmares decrease, sometimes stop entirely. Why? Because you have taken back control. The nightmare cannot victimize you anymore. This translates to waking life, reduces anxiety, increases confidence. Third, creativity, artistic inspiration. Artists use lucid dreams as creative resource. In a lucid dream, you can visualize images with perfect clarity, more vivid than waking imagination. Musicians can hear music, sometimes original compositions that do not exist anywhere else. They wake, write them down. Writers can explore plot ideas, enter the story, become characters, experience events from inside. Lucid dreams become the ultimate creative studio. Fourth, personal growth, psychological development. Lucid dreams offer space for working with the unconscious, deliberately, consciously. You can ask questions. What do I need to know? What am I avoiding? And listen for answers. You can meet archetypal figures, the shadow, the anima or animus, the wise old one. Engage with them. Work toward integration. This is Jung's active imagination taken to its ultimate form. Fifth, spirituality, transcendence. Some practitioners use lucid dreams for spiritual practice, for experiences of unity, of dissolution, of ego. In a lucid dream, you can meditate with perfect concentration, without the distractions of the body. You can seek experiences of the divine, of cosmic consciousness. Some report such experiences, describe them as more real than waking life. Tibetan practices teach that lucid dreaming prepares for death. Death is a transition. Similar to falling asleep, the consciousness leaves the body, enters bardo, intermediate state. If you have practiced lucidity in sleep, you can remain conscious after death, can navigate the bardo, can recognize the visions as projections of your own mind, can achieve liberation. Modern science is cautious about these claims, cannot verify them, but acknowledges lucid dreaming does affect consciousness, does develop metacognition, does enhance certain cognitive abilities. But there are risks, warnings. Lucid dreaming is not without dangers. Some practitioners, becoming obsessed, begin confusing dream and reality. Even while awake, derealization. The world feels unreal, dreamlike. This can be distressing. In extreme cases, contributes to mental illness. Others abuse lucid dreaming. Use it as escape. Sleep as much as possible. Live primarily in dreams. Avoid waking life. Responsibilities. This is addiction, as harmful as any addiction. Moderation is essential. Balance. Lucid dreaming as practice, as tool, not as primary mode of existence. Like any powerful tool, it can bring great benefit or great harm. Depends entirely on how you use it. The future of dreams. The future of dreams may involve more technology. Devices already exist that help induce lucid dreams. Sleep masks with sensors. They detect when you enter REM sleep, then deliver a subtle cue. Many people respond by becoming lucid. Apps analyze sleep patterns, track movement, estimate sleep stages, provide techniques for developing lucidity. Neurotechnologies are being explored. Transcranial electrical stimulation, weak currents applied to scalp. Some research suggests this increases probability of lucid dreams, but this is also frightening. If dreams can be influenced from outside, manipulated by technology, where is the boundary? Dystopian scenarios are easy to imagine. Corporations implanting advertising in people's dreams. Governments using dreams for propaganda. Dreams are the last refuge of freedom. The one space entirely private. If that boundary falls, what remains? Questions are urgent. Not science fiction. Not distant future. This technology exists now. Will be commercial soon. How we use it will determine whether it becomes tool for liberation or instrument of oppression. But one thing remains certain. Dreams will not disappear. As long as we sleep, we will dream. As long as we dream, we will wonder what dreams mean. The history of dreaming is not finished. Cannot be finished. We write the next chapter every night. Every dream. Every awakening. Conclusion. The eternal mystery. We have traveled far, from Egyptian sleep temples 4,000 years ago to modern neurotechnology, from Imhotep to Freud, from Asclepius to Stephen LaBerge, across time, across cultures, across paradigms, 4,000 years, thousands of stories, millions of dreams, billions of dreamers. What remains constant? What endures through all the changes? The mystery. Dreams have always been mysterious, remain mysterious, even now, even with EEG monitoring, with brain imaging, with psychological theories. We know so much more than the ancients. We can measure REM sleep, can identify brain regions active during dreaming, can map neurotransmitters, can observe eye movements. We understand memory consolidation, emotional processing, the role of dreams in learning, creativity, mental health. But we still do not know the central question. Why do we experience dreams the way we do? Why this particular dream now? Why these symbols? These emotions? Why did you dream last night about your childhood home? About a person you have not thought of in years? about flying, about falling. Science can tell you about the mechanisms, the how, the what, but not the why, not the meaning, not the significance for you specifically. Each dream is unique, each carries meaning, but the meaning is not always clear, not obvious. Sometimes you wake and instantly understand. Ah, that dream was about my fear of change. Makes perfect sense. Sometimes you understand only later, weeks later, months later, years later. You remember a dream and suddenly see what it meant. Dreams are mirrors. They reflect us, but the reflection is distorted, symbolic, metaphorical, like looking at yourself in water or in a broken mirror that shows you in fragments. And this is good. This is necessary, because directness kills mystery, kills depth. If dreams spoke plainly, said exactly what they meant, they would become boring, predictable. We would stop paying attention. Symbols and metaphors and riddles, this is what makes dreams alive, endlessly interesting, inexhaustible. Every interpretation is partial, provisional, never final. You can return to the same dream again and again throughout your life. Find new meanings, new layers. The dream does not change, you change. And seeing differently, you find different meanings. Humanity will continue exploring dreams, creating new theories, discovering new aspects, using new technologies, building new practices. Some will be valuable, will increase understanding, will help people, will heal, will inspire. Some will be wrong, will lead astray, will be abandoned. The process continues. The spiral rises, but never reaches a summit, never achieves complete understanding. Because complete understanding of dreams would be complete understanding of consciousness, of mind, of what it means to be human. And these mysteries are infinite, inexhaustible. This is wonderful. This is how it should be. Because mystery is what makes life worthwhile. Curiosity is what drives us. The search for understanding is more valuable than the finding. If we knew everything, what would we do? What would drive us? Mystery gives meaning. Questions give purpose. The journey matters more than the destination, and dreams are journey. Every night, into the unknown, into ourselves, into the depths. As long as we sleep, we will dream. As long as we dream, we will seek meaning. As long as we seek, we will be fully alive, fully human. The history of dreaming is the history of ourselves, of our hopes, our fears, our desires, our attempts to touch the invisible, to hear the inaudible, to understand the incomprehensible. It is the story of standing at the boundary between known and unknown, between consciousness and unconsciousness, between matter and spirit, between human and divine. Every night we stand at this boundary. Every night we cross it, fall into the abyss of sleep, enter the realm of dreams, experience the impossible, and return. Sometimes remembering what we saw, more often forgetting, but always changed, always marked, always carrying something from the other side, even if we cannot name it. We are standing on a river bank, the night river, dark, deep, flowing past, carrying away day, bringing night, bringing dreams. We prepare to enter, to immerse, to surrender to the current. We do not know where it will carry us, what we will see in the depths, what we will encounter, but we trust. We have done this before, every night of our lives, and we will do it again, tonight, and tomorrow night, and every night until the final night when we cross a different boundary and do not return. But for now, we return. We wake, we remember or forget. We continue. The journey never ends. The mystery never exhausts itself. The questions never cease, and so we dream. Close your eyes now. Take a deep breath. Let yourself begin to drift, to float, to release. May you dream of clean water, flowing river, living water that gives life. May you dream of wisdom passed from generation to generation, preserved despite forgetting, emerging again when needed. May you dream of humanity, persistent, rising after every fall, learning from every mistake, moving forward in spirals that rise slowly toward light. May you dream of healing, of wholeness, of becoming more fully yourself. May you dream of beauty, of truth, of love that transcends understanding. May you dream of the mystery, never solved, always deepening, always calling you forward into greater awareness. May you dream well. Good night, until we meet again in dreams, or in waking, or in that place between where magic happens and boundaries dissolve. Good night. May your dreams be wise. May they guide you. May they heal you. May they show you who you are becoming. The river flows. The night deepens. The dreams are waiting. Enter. Surrender. Trust. Dream.